And welcome everybody to a somewhat special edition of the Sixth Ring Canes. We're actually going to be starting this show off with some Tua talk with, how can we not, with everything that's been going on recently. But before we get started on that, I just wanted to say that this show is brought to you by Prize Picks. It is a revolutionary new daily fantasy game where you can pick 2, 3, 4 players to go over or under their fantasy point projections. And if you correct, then you end up being the big winner there. So pick 2 or more players from the same sport and league, or go cross leagues for your parlay and use the promo code 5 and receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100. But first, you got to sign up at prizepicks.com to start winning today. And just again, that promo code is 5. That's the word 5. So make sure you know how to spell the word 5 and you'll be able to good to go. So that's about 99.999% of you out there. All right. So with all that said and done, let's go ahead and jump right into the Tua Tagovailoa talk, because Brian Flores, well, not Brian Flores, actually. I think this was actually leaked, because all the players we're seeing come out are saying that I didn't know about this. I didn't hear about this. Jerome Baker's talking about he saw it on Instagram, and the other players are talking about this.
I have a hard time believing that. I think everybody knew in house. Just got to play your role, as in, oh, we didn't know. Come on, man, they knew. So.
Well, the thing about it that's weird for me is, and a lot of people are talking about the timing. I'm a little concerned about how this got out in the first place, because Brian Flores did not make the official announcement during a press conference that Tua Tagovailoa will be starting this upcoming Sunday against the Rams after the bye week. So somebody had to say something they weren't supposed to, or something along those lines, in order for that information to get out in the first place. So let's just figure it. So give them hell, Alfredo says. So I would love to be able to point and say, who leaked this information? Who is the unauthorized information mole? Are you volunteering, Jakari? Was it you? Did you somehow leak this? You to blame?
I'm gonna be honest with you. Since it came from Adam Schefter, it had to be one of the front office guys who leaked it. Because I feel like that in my opinion, before you go off, Lewis.
I do that no matter what. You can't stop me. That's why Manny put Sung Fire on the bottom. You can't stop me once I go, man.
Before, I just feel like it was more pressure from the front office. They seen the reception that he received in the game. He actually did look pretty good in his throws that he did make. So it's kind of it wasn't. I'm not upset with the move. I did want to see them wait, but like I was reading things earlier. The truth is, every play that he makes this year is a step towards progression in 2021. So you can't really be upset about it. The Dolphins kind of see that they can win the division, and with Tua back there, he gives you the best chance with a better passing game. You'll see the playbook open up a little more because it's a little bit more mobile than Fitzpatrick. So he'll be able to run the play actions, the bootlegs, move in the pocket. The receivers will be happy. The players were raving about his performance in practice. So obviously they've been seeing it. It's kind of similar to Justin Herbert. You know who's the better quarterback, but you know who the starter is for the plan. But I'm not upset about that. I just want to see him have a good game. Kind of didn't want to see him against Aaron Donald for his first NFL game. Because, the offensive line has been improved, but, Aaron Donald's the best player in football. So you kind of, you got to see how they game plan. But I think Tua is going to come in. I think he's a gamer. I think he's going to win games. He's going to make some throws that wow us. The playbook is going to expand. The receivers will have a better chance of pushing the ball downfield. I just think it helps everyone. He gives us the best chance to win. Just you have to look at it in December. In December down the stretch, an experienced Tua will help us more than Ryan Fitzpatrick.
I'll go ahead and let you guys do some talking before I go off, as Jakari would put it. So, Michael, I'm going to go with you. What's your thoughts on this whole shebang going on?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of came out of nowhere. We talked about it, on the post-game show for the Dolphins. And one of the things that we talked about was, I remember Kai brought it up. Kai's like, oh, so do we just start him after the bye? And we said, like Jakari mentioned as well, it's a weird time to start him against Aaron Donald, a really fairly formidable defense, for the Rams. That's a strange first task for him. But, this is a Tannehill jersey. So I wore it on purpose. So I bought a Tannehill jersey when he had his explosive game against the Cardinals. His rookie season, I think he had the most passing yards in a game for a rookie. So I bought the jersey right after that. I ordered my Tua jersey literally the day after the draft or whenever we found out his number. But I was on Twitter and I see the Adam Schefter tweet, right? I like refreshed right as it was like 30 seconds in, and it says Tua Tagovailoa named the starter. And I checked because I thought it was one of those Adam Schefter parody accounts that somehow leaked onto my timeline and wasn't real. This feels surreal. It seems like a strange time. I wouldn't say that Fitzpatrick is to blame for what's happened the past couple games, and we've won the last 2 games, right? So it just seems like it's a bit soon, but I think they were really wanting to give Tua the go after the bye week. And so they were just like, well, the bye week's here. We let Tua have a couple throws. The fans love them. Let's just go ahead and do it. I do agree with Jakari. I think Tua does give us a better chance to win down the road than Fitzpatrick does. But personally, I wouldn't have started him here against the Rams. But now that we are, I mean, I have my tickets. I'm going.
But to your point, Michael, our bye week got moved.
Yeah.
So we probably could have been seeing Tua against the Jets coming off the bye week, if I'm not mistaken, because they moved our bye week from this upcoming week to this week, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I think it wasn't it a little bit later? It was like the Jets, and then it was like the Broncos, Jets, bye week Jets or something like that.
Yeah, but the bye week got moved up. So I feel like this has probably always been the plan. So you got to kind of but Tua gives us the best chance. He's a better passer. He's a better passer. Obviously, the offensive line play had a lot to do with him being named the starter. You getting Austin Jackson back later on in I think he's gonna miss like another 2 games. He's on the IR. So you're getting Austin Jackson back. I just think it gives him 2 weeks. Let's see what happens. Like, we can't just say, be upset about it. Let's just see how it plays out. Now, I am going to say this. The Rams defense is okay. I mean, outside of Ramsey and Donald, they don't have much. So he can have a big game against them. Garoppolo shredded them the other day. And I just think you're going to see a quicker offense. That's what I'm projecting to see. Tua's to me, he's like a Drew Brees. He's an accurate guy, and he's a distributor of the football. So those slant passes are finally going to work. Like, let's be honest, Fitzpatrick wasn't getting the slants in perfectly, and that's something that Tua destroyed in college. So Parker and Preston Williams, if they can run him right, they're going to eat him alive. That and the out routes are going to be in play. Like I said, Gesicki's going to benefit more because he's going to be able to push the ball down to him, down the seams. The middle of the field. So you got to look at the added value that he's going to have on the offense. And like I said, Chan Gailey, we seen it in the snaps. They mix it up, pistol, shotgun. They came out in the play action. So we'll see a lot more variety of the offense.
For me,
and Danny.
For me, I think it comes down to I was a little surprised just because they are playing the Rams, like you all said. I would have rather seen him maybe play against the Jets because the Jets are terrible, and I think that might have given him an easier option. But you're gonna see, how can he perform under pressure? They're in the middle of a playoff race right now. How can he perform against a good defense in the Rams and Aaron Donald? I think the Rams have only allowed 209.5 yards per game. So this is definitely going to be a challenge for him, and it will be interesting to see if he can step up, because if he can, that's just going to add to the mystique and aura growing around him. But I do think the Dolphins have something special for the future.
He a gamer, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you can't take that away from him. He got the moxie. Come on, man. The guy's first appearance, the first appearance we ever seen him come in a national title game. And he comes back and win the game. Like, he has it. And he's not a turnover machine like Fitzpatrick. He's very efficient. Only 13 interceptions in college to 87 touchdowns. The only thing with Tua that he has to do right now, take what the defense gives him, because he does like the big play. He loves the big play. But right now it's the NFL. Take what the defense give you. Long as he's doing that, they're going to move
slide. He has to slide. Yeah. I pray to God he slides, because if I see him run out of the pocket and he tries to gain even an extra half a yard, I would beat him up on the sideline if I was Coach Flores. Slide every time, man.
Yeah, so all right, Lewis, we're ready.
Oh, snap.
I've already made my stance on this whole thing abundantly clear. I have said from the get-go that the best thing for the Dolphins in the long term, is that Tua redshirts 2020 and that he comes back fully without question. He gets a full training camp, a full preseason. And not only does that give without any doubts whatsoever that his hip is ready to go, everything is wonderful as far as his health is concerned. Not only would it do that, it would give us, the fan base, the analysts, if you will, the chance to get used to the idea that Tua's gonna get hit. I said it during my Pulse of Fins Nation episode that I released this morning, which actually now is outdated because of this news, that everybody in South Florida who ran to the television, you saw the ratings,
like
you saw somebody,
72,000.
yeah, the people ran to their television because they heard Tua's playing, and then everybody's like, oh my God, I got to see the last 2 minutes of this fourth quarter shutout that they hadn't been watching up until now. Just because it's Tua, it's almost like a LeBron thing. It's like, I don't normally care about this team, but because it's LeBron, I'm going to watch. It's kind of the same thing with Tua. All of a sudden, everybody wants to come and watch because it's Tua. But everybody, and if anybody says otherwise, they are lying to you. Every single person, when he rolled out left to throw the ball to Patrick Laird, and you saw that Jets guy zoning in on him, going for that hit, every single person watching, their entire body just bracing themselves for the thought that Tua would be on the ground and is he going to get back up? So that was the entire point of us being anxious. Anybody who's saying it's not right is not saying that Tua's not a good quarterback or that Fitzpatrick is better. They're saying, is now really the best time for the long term? Do you want to risk the next decade and a half of football for a 2020 that may or may not work out in your favor? Because this is not the final roster that we're going to be putting out when we're going to make that real playoff push, so to speak.
I agree with you there, but you have to also say this is football. So at what point? I don't think we're going to ever see the preseason again just because the product was too clean without it. So I don't think we're going to see the preseason like that. We're just going to see practice and stuff.
I agree.
So we can't say, 2021 was going to get preseason games. We're going to get that.
See, I don't believe that they're going to do that because I feel like for many teams, not the fan base says that it's boring. But the preseason helps coaches see what it looks like in real time, real games, and say, okay, so who can hack it and who can't? And
the intensity is way different in regular season and
but it's still
preseason.
higher than training camp.
No, your practices are way more intense just because you are going against the same people, but it's competition. So Flores to me has won his team over because he's a straightforward guy. We've seen if the guys are working hard, they're having good practices. You see them playing. Myles Gaskins over Jordan Howard, Breida. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the type of aura he's created. So we can't 100% say like, in 2021 that, he was going to be ready the preseason. But I don't think the preseason will come back, Shepard, just because the injuries came just like any injuries happen anyway. So in the first 2-3 weeks of the season, we always have a devastating injury. So the product was too clean, and I think the owners like this better. Plus, they'll rather add another regular season game to the schedule out instead of the preseason. The preseason doesn't hold as much value anymore, but it's football. So I think with Tua taking that first hit, we were gonna hold our breath anyway. So if it was this time next year, he was going in the starter, we was gonna be worried.
So why I disagree with that, Jakari, is because the reason I disagree with that is because we know for a fact that when let's put it this way, when we initially drafted him, we knew he wasn't going to be ready. All right. We knew that he wasn't, like, let's say if we drafted him that day and the season started the next day, was he going to be ready? According to doctors? No, he needed more time to heal. And that type of mentality sticks because this 2020 season was like, okay, we're sitting him down because we know he's not ready to play right away. So yes, even though the doctors have cleared him, I get everybody saying you can't get more healthy than 100. I agree. You can't get more healthy than 100. But at the same time, he's not going to get hurt sitting on the bench. It gives us time to kind of change our mindset. It's like, okay, now is the time, and we can feel comfortable knowing he's had an even if it's an excessive amount of time to get healed up. Then it's like, okay, no more questions. It's been almost 2 years. There's no way that hip is not healthy. There are zero questions left. Right now, we're just taking the word of the doctors, the word of the coaching staff, and it's not as easy for us to accept it. It's not as easy for us to accept it. I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm saying for us, it increases the level of anxiety that we feel when he goes out there and gets hit, because we had already accepted it in our minds that, okay, this is not the year for Tua. Now that we've accelerated the process, it makes us more worried about it. And now with Aaron Donald being the guy he's going to be facing down, and with all due respect to the job that Solomon Kinley has done, that Robert Hunt has done, I don't trust anybody to stop Aaron Donald when he has a target.
No one's
going
to.
I mean, no
one's going to
play in the football. So.
But I feel like,
and that's what I'm worried about, is that Tua's going to get squashed like a pancake, and all our hopes and dreams are going to go.
At some point, he was going to get sacked.
Like, no, I know that. I get that, but that's what I'm saying.
I think what it is we're all just nervous, right? Like I was too. I agree with you that I was nervous when he rolled to the left and I saw the free rusher coming right into his face, which for anybody watching, check out Alfredo Arteaga's yard work video, because he diagnosed that play perfectly, showing that it was a missed block by, I think it was Bowden, who should have chipped him at least. But like, I think the thing is, the last time we saw Tua play, right? The last time we saw him in live action football, he took that hit, he went down, and it was tough.
He was already beat up to begin with.
It was a freak injury, though.
No, absolutely. But what I'm saying, okay, because think about it. Tannehill was one of the healthiest quarterbacks I've seen in my history of watching a lot of football, right? Like Tannehill
hurt running to the sideline.
He got hurt in that one game. I think it was Calais Campbell that took him down.
No. He it was a non-contact injury.
Well, on the no, in training camp, but when he went down during the game, somebody sacked him.
You meant previously.
Yeah, when he got hurt the first time.
Okay.
It was one of those things that I knew when I saw Tannehill again the next time, I was going to be nervous. Not because I didn't trust him or his health or the doctors. It was just the last time I saw you get hit, you got hurt pretty bad. But I think they wouldn't put him out there if he wasn't 100%.
And I didn't say otherwise. I never said otherwise. I said it's the mentality of the people who are going to be watching. That is why we have questions. It's not about whether we think he's really that healthy or not. If he wasn't healthy, he wouldn't be the backup. Josh Rosen would still be here. But
that would have been interesting.
It's the level of anxiety that we feeling like this is why it feels like it's too early, because we're not comfortable with the idea of him going out there yet. We're very excited. You think I'm not excited? I want to see what Tua's got too. But I feel like this is why I keep saying this was not the season. We had a very unique opportunity to just surround this kid with all the talent you could possibly imagine and set him out there in the world with an Alabama-esque kind of level of talent, if we could make that happen.
I think I'm gonna just be honest. I think the Patriots situation, seeing what the Jets are going through, I think them seeing the Bills going down the last two games kind of played a factor, because when you look at it, you look at those teams, we 3-3, and we've won football games not because Fitzpatrick has played amazing. It's just been a good team game all around. Defense has been outstanding. Special teams has been good. They're getting sacks. They're getting turnovers. So it's just a good role. And the offense was playing well. I just think the bye week was going to always be the time for them.
I have enemies, Jakari, in case you haven't told. You haven't noticed.
I feel like the team is playing well. And I think, I agree with you completely. Like the Patriots looking... they already looked beatable when we played them, right? I feel like when we lost, that was more on us than the Patriots beating us. And now they look worse. Josh Allen doesn't look like an MVP anymore, and we almost beat him when he did look like an MVP.
And to add to that, and it's just this. Tua is going to allow your offense to open up. Like a lot of the times when you watch the game, Lewis, you are nervous when Fitzpatrick drops back because you like, well, is this going to be a game his arm goes dead? Because he has those games.
I'm not nervous about Fitzpatrick. The guy.
I get nervous when they punch him in the face and hit him in the head.
Nope. I was not worried one moment for Ryan Fitzpatrick. The man, like, he loves to get hit. He gets up and he's just fine. Listen, look at me. I'm a 37-year-old dude. You can't knock me out. I love it. With him, it's okay. With Tua, but I know he's not the future. He's not here for that long.
I mean, like I said, for every snap he takes this year is a step towards 2021. We only seen the red shirt thing work 2 times. Aaron Rodgers and Pat Mahomes. But Pat
I disagree with that, but that's okay.
Okay, who are the other quarterbacks that red shirted that played well?
I believe, did Drew Bledsoe play the whole season when Brady showed up?
Was Brady drafted to be the starting quarterback?
That's not the question. You said who sat.
That is the question. Pat Mahomes was drafted to be the starting quarterback. You took him 10th overall.
How about Eli Manning then?
Eli Manning set?
Eli Manning
Warner was there.
And then, Kurt Warner was there, and then Eli Manning started.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, like 10 games in or something like that.
Okay, but that's
Carson Palmer sat for a little while behind John Kitna.
That's 4 quarterbacks.
Marino sat
behind for a little while.
He sat how many games? He came into like his 8th game.
But David Woodley was god awful.
It does not matter. The red shirt does only helps if a guy struggles breaking down film, has turnover problems. So like Mahomes at Texas Tech, he was a turnover machine. He needed to sit down. Ended up in the perfect situation with probably the best offensive coach in NFL history in Andy Reid, and it helped him digest, this is how you break down the offenses, right? Those guys may feel sad a little bit too. It has not helped him.
I do feel like Herbert was one that could have benefited from sitting down, and yes, he's playing great so far, but I think that's
Herbert. I think people view Herbert was skewed. Just because of the offense he was playing in, the side-to-side offense at Oregon. Now that they're letting him push the ball downfield, it's kind of like, well, damn, this guy should have been. But everybody.
With Tua, the only reason why Tua was sitting was the injury problems. Like, if Tua was healthy, first of all, if Tua was healthy, we wouldn't have Tua.
Yeah, he'd have been the first quarterback.
We wouldn't. And even if for some reason he wasn't the first quarterback taken, somebody between 2 and 4 would have taken him.
Yes.
Right? So there was no shot we were going to take him. That was the only reason why he was sitting. He's, in my opinion, the smartest quarterback from that draft. Right? The dude knows how to dissect the defense. The dude knows where to put the ball. He just has the field. He has more of an it factor than any quarterback I've seen in a really long time.
Like I said, for your first game of the year, because if Tua doesn't go in that game, he's going to be transferring from Alabama. Just to let that be known.
Just like his brother.
Yeah.
Just like his brother.
First game comes in, the guy wins you a national title. And like I said, he has injury problems, but all his injuries have come from him trying to do too much. The ankle injury, the hip injury, which is a freak accident.
He shouldn't even have been on the field.
Yes, he should have just, but I'm just saying, I just think you're nervous, but at the same time, this is football. This guy has been playing football for 21 years, however long he's been the quarterback. I mean, your body's used to the hitting. Like, you're okay, Lewis. Trust me.
And I would even argue that Tua is a really tough quarterback. If not, he's probably one of the toughest quarterbacks that I've seen. Yes, he got injured and had to sit out, but he never really sat out for long, right? The ankle injuries, both of them, what was he out? 1 game or none?
2 weeks, I think. No, he didn't miss the
he
LSU
didn't miss.
game.
Yeah, he doesn't miss game. He's a tough guy. He takes a lot of hits and he stands back up. The hip was freak. The ankles were freak. If I trust Brian Flores, I know I trust Brian Flores because I think he always makes the decisions in the best interest of the team, not because ownership tells him to, not because the media or we, the fans. He does what he thinks is best for the team. I think he's made good decisions so far. If he thinks it's time for him to start, as much as personally as a fan, I may be like, oh, I wanted to save him a little bit more because I'm still a little bit nervous. If he says it's time to go, I'm all in. I'm all in with it.
So let me ask you this, Lewis. If the Dolphins finish 9-7, 8-8, do you see that season as a success?
Which are you talking about? What's the context? If Fitzpatrick kept playing?
No.
Right now.
Right now with Tua. Fitzpatrick's done. We're not even going to talk.
But that's why I asked though, because you're asking a hypothetical, so I need to know the details.
Okay, yeah, Tua's their starter right now.
All right. So if Tua's the starter and they go 8-8 or 9-7, then my definition of success has always been, has the team as a whole developed and learned to win together, whether they win or lose. For this, I kept saying this, and this is why I kept saying this was a redshirt year. It wasn't just because of Tua and his health. It was also that I was already mentally prepared to have 2020 be another year of just developing players, seeing who does it, who does not, and after that, that's why you ramp up for 2021 and say, okay, this player, no. This player, yes. This player, no.
They are developing, though. You can't.
They are developing, yes. So my definition of success for this year, you asked me what my definition was. It a success? My definition of success for 2020 was never about wins and losses. It was never about wins and losses. It's how do these players look? Are they competing? Are they keeping it close? Are they improving week in and week out? If they are, then it was success. That's what my look.
You can't judge football off that, though. We gotta. It's no.
If for a team in a rebuild, I think you can. For a team in a rebuild, I think you can.
Some sort of numerical benchmark for judging a team based off of success. You can judge talent and development all you want, but at some point, numbers come into play.
Yeah, this is no moral victories here, because you know what? If Brian Flores goes 3-13 this year, guess what's gonna happen to him? They're gonna fire him and get rid of him. They'll get another guy in there.
No, they won't.
Coaches
at the end of this season.
Yes, if you
for them to go 3-13, that means that nobody developed, everybody regressed, and this whole entire roster flopped. That's what I'm saying.
They're gonna fire him.
Yeah, he's fired.
This is a players league. This is not a coaches league. This is a players league.
But you're talking wins and losses, not performance.
Okay, so Bill O'Brien has a top 10 quarterback in Deshaun Watson, right? What happened to him? He got fired because he wasn't winning.
But they weren't in a rebuild. They were expected to win.
Yeah, well, that was different. That was different because they went from the playoffs and being contenders in the playoffs to being a terrible team because he made those decisions.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Still, you're judged off.
I don't think Flores would have gotten fired this year unless we went like 0-16. I don't think it would have been this year.
That's the difference. That's why I keep saying the Dolphins were such a unique situation. It's a unique situation because these Dolphins did not have playoff expectations.
You can't say that though. Everybody around the league is expecting the Dolphins to win 8 games, except the fans. Every expert predicted Tony Romo first game of the year. Oh, I expect those to make a big jump this year, and 2021.
I expect them to make a big jump too in performance.
So how many?
Sorry, I'm Jazz's way. Go ahead, Jazz. What's going on, man? I'm sorry.
Are you guys talking about this Tua thing?
Yeah.
We're gonna get out of here. We're gonna get out of here now.
It's a small name. It's not that big a deal. Don't worry about it.
I'm not even sure what happened.
Cause it's wins and losses for me. So if they win 8 games this year with him as a quarterback, that's a success. I mean, you only won 5 last year, and it's better. Like like I said, at some point this was gonna happen. Whether it was this is game 7, it was gonna happen at some point in the season. If the Dolphins were 6-8 at the end, he was gonna start the last 2 or 3 games. This was gonna happen. So it just got sped up with all the other issues going on in the division.
I think the schedule change was the biggest thing too. That the schedule change really accelerated his timeline.
I hope that Tua throws for 500 yards against the Rams. The only thing that I'm saying, and this is a philosophy difference between you and me, is that I want to see the players develop and grow and become better for the long haul, which is 2021 and beyond.
They are developed, though.
Yes, they are. They are, and I like it.
Is the team better than it was last year? The first
of course
5
they are. That's not the argument. Of course they are.
They're developed. That's the development.
Good. Yes, keep it up. That's what I'm saying. So that's my definition of success. But if they lose along the way because of something happens, then I don't think it's a loss.
And another thing I think factors into it too is Houston not having a good season, because I feel like if the Dolphins are there and Tua doesn't play well down the stretch, they're gonna draft Trevor Lawrence if they had a number 1 pick. It just makes sense.
Oh, but there's no way. There's literally no way we get the number 1 overall pick. Houston, Deshaun Watson would have to get traded or hurt for that to happen. The Jets have it locked up.
I'm saying, obviously, I think Houston's going to end up winning a game or 2 or 3. But like I said, it matters in that way. But me personally, I think Tua and Trevor Lawrence are on the same level.
Wait, so now you're saying Tua's on the hot seat though? Because I don't think that.
No, hell no. Tua's
No, because I think
because
even
you just said is that if Tua struggles, then they're going to draft Trevor Lawrence.
I don't think so.
If you end up with the number 1 pick, what would you do right now? You gonna turn down Lawrence?
I'd trade it for 3 first-rounders.
I mean, but you have to think about this though. Look at all the quarterbacks that have been given up on after 1 year.
But they're not going to give up on Tua.
You're not going to give up on Tua. He would literally have to go 0 touchdowns with 16 interceptions and like 40% completion percentage for me to say, he's not it.
Nah, brother. When you see something better, you take it. Just like Kyler Murray.
But we're not going to be in line for Lawrence.
Huh? No. Tua's better than Trevor Lawrence, in my opinion.
I think so too.
Because both of them number 1 picks. If Tua not hurt, he number 1 pick. I'm not saying it in that interest, but if you end up with the number 1 pick, Trevor Lawrence is not going to the Jets either. He's going to pull an Eli Manning at all. He will never play.
You think so?
Trevor Lawrence is going to stay at Clemson. He's
never
going to stay at Clemson.
He'll
leave. He's better off staying at Clemson.
He's not going to play for the Jets at all. He's going to be like, no.
Hey, I hope so. I pray that's true.
Hey, but the AFC is going to be a tough road ahead because you got Mahomes, Jackson, potentially Trevor Lawrence, who's going to be good in the NFL.
NFC quarterbacks are really on the downturn because they're all either old or Russell Wilson, who's starting to he's still playing like an MVP, but he's getting older too. So the NFC is looking bad from the QB standpoint.
The AFC is going to be
and you got that guy over there in Tennessee. That guy's pretty good.
Yeah. This guy.
That guy. Hold on. You guys can't say that y'all ain't see Tannehill's success because with the same game plan they're doing in Tennessee, they went to the playoffs in Miami with running the football.
Jay Ajayi. It's the same season except a better running back. Yeah,
that's it.
No one defended Tannehill more than I did when he was in Miami.
Bought his jersey after his third game.
I love Ryan Tannehill, but a certain players just need to change the scenery. Yeah. It happens all the time. It's not wrong.
They need to change of coaching. Look what happened to poor Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I feel bad for him because Darnold's actually really good.
I don't think Darnold's a bad quarterback. Yeah, I think he's got.
I think Darnold's in a bad situation.
The situation's called Gase. But anyway,
his wide receivers.
We've taken up enough of the 6th Rings time, so let's go ahead and turn it over to Jazz and the rest of the Miami Hurricanes crew. So thank you, everybody, for joining us for Tua Talk and listening to me and Jakari yell at each other. Good night, folks.
We're not going to talk about Tua now also. I mean, I think it's inevitable at this point.
All right. My pleasure. Turning it over to you guys.
Michael, stand with us.
I'll be on for a couple minutes. I like the Canes too, so I'll give it a shot.
All right, look at that. Ooh, even the names changed colors. Woo! That's what I'm talking about. Now it's a 6-ring Canes show. Manny always gets it wrong and puts a 6-ring show. It's a 6-ring Canes show, Manny, for the love of God. Right. What's going on, fellas? How you guys doing? Sorry, I'm a little bit late today, but duty calls. Thanks for talking some Tua talk, which is obviously the biggest news coming out of Miami sports now. Obviously, we were all pretty. I think we were all pretty surprised by the move at this point in time, but also excited. So, enough about Tua. We'll probably mix.
Okay. Well, enough about Tua. We're gonna talk a little bit about the Canes. Talk about a little recap of the Pittsburgh game, and I mean the Canes won 31-19. Pretty exciting game. It was big news that came out of Miami when they released the depth chart with all the oars at the receiver position.
Yeah.
So it's an open competition. But to start off, Danny, what did you think of the game?
I thought it was very type of like grinded out type of game. It was kind of what I expected. I mean, Pittsburgh hung around a little bit and they made things not terribly tough for Miami, but Pittsburgh let Miami know that they were there. I thought King looked okay. He missed some throws, but at the end of the day, a win's a win, especially at this stage of the season. Will Mallory had a touchdown, I believe, which was great to see
Yes.
because we weren't sure what the production at tight end was going to be with
What?
Jordan nicked up. But, still the outside wide receivers, and, you saw on the depth chart today, it's an open competition because the outside wide receivers, once again, I feel like a broken record, did not do enough on Saturday.
Yeah, they haven't made plays all season. I'm not really shocked about the aura on the depth chart. I mean, we all been talking about this for the past 5 to 6 weeks that at some point we were gonna see different guys. Go to Jazz, back to Jazz. What guy would you like to see? What guy would you like to see get some playing time this upcoming weekend? Give us a little recap of what you thought about the Pittsburgh game.
Yeah, by the way, this is how my day has been today, by the way. But anyways, yeah, the Pitt game, we obviously spoke about it a lot on the post-game show as well. Now that I sit down and I kind of relax a little bit and really think about everything, look, listen, that's a hell of a defense that we played, that Pitt Panther defense. Okay, so 31 points on a Pitt defense, I think is actually pretty strong. Okay, yeah, we still got some things to work on. I definitely think that our running game needs to get a little bit better. I know that Coach Lashley and Manny Diaz all spoke about how they were okay with our running game. They were actually happy with it. I don't know if that's just coach talk at this point, and it probably is a little bit of coach talk because you want to see Cam Harris average more than 2.6 yards per carry. You want to see some of the other guys, Don Chaney and Jalen Knighton, get do a little bit better as well. And maybe it was a product of the offensive line. Maybe it's a product of them having some studs on the defensive line as well. So maybe it's a mix of everything. De'Aaron King again led the team in rushing for the second straight week. So is that concerning a little bit? Sure. I definitely want to see them pick it up a little bit. But am I super worried at that? No, I think Cam Harris is a stud running back either way. I think the freshman guys are good also. But like we're all talking about, obviously I jumped right in the conversation after getting kicked out there real quick. The wide receivers are still an issue. Mark Pope had a little bit of a better game. Jock, I don't know how you feel about Mark Pope, but I feel like, you got him out of the, got him in the slot, got him moving around a little bit, and you were able to dump off the ball and let him do stuff in open space, which is what Mark Pope needs to be doing. He can't line up outside because, Jock, we spoke about this so many times. Separation is an issue for these wide receivers.
Yeah,
to be an outside guy, you need to be able to win one-on-one battles and get separation down the field on crossing routes, whatever it is. Mark Pope is not doing that, and so they decided, all right, well, let's move him around a little bit and throw some short dink and dunks to him. And you saw 5 catches. I mean, not 46 yards. And people want to talk about that Mike Harley pass. Listen, my grandmother could have caught that for a touchdown, right? I mean, it was a broken play. On defense, so he found an open man and he ran it in for a touchdown. So that was good. Obviously, those are the plays that we need to connect on, and of course, explosive plays are going to be a part of our offense, which is great. But in between those explosive plays, you need to do a little bit better when it comes to running the ball and getting some short yardage catches as well. D. Wiggins dropped another pass. So, yeah, it's an open competition, fellas, at wide receiver. It is completely wide open. You might even see Daz Worsham get some playing time, which is fine by me. I don't care. You know what? It couldn't be much worse than what it is now. So why not give those guys an opportunity to play? So, all in all, the defense, I think, played well. Again, the linebackers are starting to play a little bit better. Sam Brooks getting more playing time. Corey Flagg I think he's probably the best linebacker on the team right now. So I'm excited about that. And of course, we're probably going to see some more from guys like Avery Huff and even Tyreek Austin Cave, hopefully coming up. The front four, the guys that they rotate in and out are doing a great job. Quincy Roche, defensive lineman of the week this week. So hats off to him in the ACC. Jalen Phillips still getting pressure. The guys on the inside, I'll tell you right now who the best player is on that front four, and it's Jared Harrison Hunt. That's the guy right now that I'm excited to see even more of. An absolute monster with length, athleticism, can get to the quarterback on the inside, and you can probably line him up outside, and he'll beat some of your tackles also. So I'm excited to see Jared Harrison Hunt continue to develop. He mentioned today in the press conference, Jock, if you were on, I'm not sure. Were you on the press conference today?
No, I didn't get on.
Okay. So he mentioned today that last year when he started off and he got those couple reps against Bethune-Cookman, he was freaking out. He thought he felt like a deer in the headlights. He says that right now he's a completely different football player. He credits the other guys on the line, but he also credits David Feely, who everybody seems to be crediting, and that's a good thing, right? You didn't hear too much about that with the previous guys. Everybody loves Swayze, I know, but he was a different kind of strength coach as well. So David Feely seems to be doing a great job developing these guys, getting them strong, getting them agile, athletic.
Came from the SEC.
Yeah, came from the SEC, exactly. So I'm excited to see what they do against Virginia, whose defense is actually full of fifth-year guys, seniors.
They got a good defense. Miami's gonna get tested once again.
They're struggling right now. They're giving up a lot of big plays. They gave up, I think, 6 plays of over 30 yards last week, if I'm not mistaken. Something along those lines. I was just hearing it now. And also their quarterback, they were down to their third-string quarterback last week, which I think the guy moonlights as a punter also. So I don't know what the hell's going on there. But their quarterback situation is going to be tricky because their starting quarterback, Brennan Armstrong, is suffering a concussion. So he still has to get out of concussion protocol. So I think that if the defense for Virginia, which should be good, Jock, but is not right now, if that's the case, look for De'Aaron King to kind of have his coming out moment for the Miami Hurricanes.
Yeah. Just reading a little bit about Virginia and watching them on film. Bronco Mendenhall is a great coach. First off, let's give him credit. He always puts out a decent team in Virginia since he's been there. They always have a lot of mature guys, but the defense played fairly well against Clemson. They held them to, it was a close game before Clemson obviously took off. So Miami's going to get tested once again. Just because Miami's deficiencies, we can't push the ball downfield. So when a team is able to just stack the box and, take away the run game and force you to pass, you have to have, that moment. So I kind of agree that De'Aaron King can have that moment this week, just because Virginia has been struggling, and then we don't know the quarterback situation. And if they roll a punt out there, I don't see them. They're not gonna have a chance. So me and Jazz will actually be at the game. So I just want to see how Miami comes out. This obviously should be an easy win for them.
Yep.
I think they're 13.5-point favorites.
Is it? The line grew a little bit because I think it was at 11 earlier, right?
Yeah. So I think last time I checked it was 13. I think Miami should fairly win this game. So I think this should be a game. I think we're gonna see a lot of rotation at the receiver position. So it'll probably be one series is gonna be these guys, next series these guys. I wonder if Brevin Jordan's gonna play this week. I don't know if he probably needs the extra time, but the defense is gonna be the defense. It looks like it's Jazz having a bad day, y'all. It looks like the defense is gonna carry the team this year, which is exciting because when you get in tough battles, that helps you. And the defensive line has played exceptional all year, so I'm not opposed to that. And I was having a discussion with one of my friends, and we was talking about it. I see Notre Dame, North Carolina, and Miami all at the same tier. I think Clemson's above everybody else, but I see those teams in the same tier. We do have a new guest in here, Michael, and he just muted himself. But what are some of your thoughts of what you've seen this season, and what are you expecting in this upcoming game?
This season's been crazy because it's, we always felt like we were right there, right? Like there was a couple plays, a couple things missing, and what this season has shown so far is we got to change at quarterback, we got to change at offensive coordinator, and we got to change at kicker. And it was just almost night and day with what happened the season before. But to me, I think that the biggest thing that sticks out is I really cannot think of the last time I saw University of Miami wide receiver group look as bad as this one has. Right? Like normally we produce wide receivers. That's our thing. Even in bad years, we have at least those 1 or 2 guys that we know we can count on, going all the way back to the mid 2000s, right at the start of kind of the downturn. And it just feels like these guys should be doing a lot better than they are. I think it was you, Jakari, that tweeted it, or somebody that was saying Mike Harley does such a good job breaking tackles and running routes. It's just that one thing of catching the ball it's not really there. And it's like, how, like, that's such an important piece.
That, right, Vishnu?
Oh, yeah. It was like, how do you, that's the one element, right? And that's the one that you can really go work on repeatedly, right? Like, route runners are usually innate. Breaking tackles, you can work on it, but again, innate. But that catching the ball, just go with the jugs machine and just keep catching it. And it's just not happening. And so I think D'Eriq King needs some help. And if they shut down our running game, kind of how they did this last week, right? 2.6 yards per carry for the team isn't good enough. Then we run into the trouble where we need to push the ball down the field and we're not able to do it. So I think we're going to have to rely on our defense a little bit more than I'd like to, considering how good of a player D'Eriq King is. But I think, if we can keep progressing, I think we can hopefully see Clemson again once more at the end of the year. So we'll see how that goes.
Here's the thing that I'm excited about. And, and Vish is actually someone that brought this up also post game is we're not talking about D'Eriq King having a bad series and wanting to pull him, right? Like, how many times last year did we say, here he goes, Jaron Williams again. Hey, listen, we got N'Kosi Perry back there. We got Tate Martell. Take Martell a shot, man. And then three series later, N'Kosi Perry goes in and does the same thing and kind of shits the bed, for lack of a better expression. And then you switch over again to Jaron Williams. You don't have that issue. You have a quarterback right now. You know that D'Eriq King has one bad series, and he's going to come back out the next series and throw a touchdown pass or run for one or whatever, or we're comfortable with it, right? It's kind of crazy the difference between that 1 year and right now.
Yeah, correct myself, Miami's 11.5 point favorites. Only thing I'm worried about Miami with right now, looking at the schedule ahead, I mean, we do have NC State next week and Virginia Tech the week after that. So you just don't want to look ahead. You want to go in here and handle business before a big game on the road at NC State.
Is it next weekend or do we have a bye? I think we have a bye in between.
This November 6th is.
It's like a half bye, isn't it? Or is it a full? No, it's a full bye.
Yeah, it's a full bye. Full week.
So bye week, and then you got NC State. Miami's fine. I mean, they're 4-1. You can't take away that.
Which is exactly where we wanted to be.
Yeah, you want to be
right.
Besides the Clemson game, Miami has looked good in all their other games. We can't fault that. They're gonna probably get another backup quarterback this week. You just want Miami to come out and dominate the game. You don't want these teams hanging around. I know they struggled a bit against Pitt, but still, they were up 14-0 at one point. They were dominating the game. Pitt kind of got back into it a little late. But other than that, you fine with how the results are going. The team just looks different. They look like they're finally understanding. I know Manny Diaz mentioned it earlier this week that they're going to continue the 4-man rotation at linebacker. So you want those guys to continue to get better. DJ Ivey had another strong game. Couch played an exceptional game.
That's another one I forgot to mention. Yeah, he's a stud, man.
Yeah, and I predicted that at the beginning of the year. That Couch will be playing a lot. So I just like it. I like what Miami's trending at. The goal is to be back and playing Clemson and having a better game against them. So, just
playing more like the first half.
Yeah, continue to trend in the right direction and like they're doing. And I want to go ahead and give Manny Diaz credit. He has improved as a coach. Yep. They don't look as sluggish. D'Eriq King has helped them, but they can. But this on Saturday night, you want to just see them come out, handle business, go into the bye week 5-1, and let everybody else play out. Because, like I said, North Carolina lost, and I predicted that on the show that they would lose.
That came out of nowhere.
I thought FSU was going to give them a run for their money. I didn't think they would beat them. And
I remember I was like, I think they're going to beat them just because of the environment you in. It's a night game. It's exciting.
Yeah, you show up.
Yeah, those are kids. You're playing against number 5 team in the country. So that's you just want Miami. Miami's in a good position. I think they're the second best team in the SEC right now. I do not see Notre Dame beating them if they played. So
that's what they did with Louisville.
Yeah, I just think Miami's in a good position. Yep. Now, obviously, the blessing you want to see is a 45-0 win on Saturday. That'd just be great. But I just
Could it
want to
happen? It could happen. It
Yeah,
does.
I want to see the receivers make plays because Wake Forest quarterback threw for 300 yards. They had a 100-yard rusher, a 100-yard receiver, and Miami has the talent to do that. The guys just need to make the plays.
One thing I find. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Danny.
No, go ahead.
One thing that I saw on Saturday, which was definitely encouraging, was only 5 penalties for 55 yards. We weren't talking about double-digit penalties. It was only 5, so I thought that was something that was really encouraging too. I mean, if they can clean that up and stop shooting themselves in the foot.
Well, you as a coach, you're gonna have penalties in the game, so you expect 3 to 5. Once you get out of that 5 range, that's when it's a disciplinary problem.
Yeah, not 15 or 12 or even 10, honestly.
That's a good point, Danny.
Yeah. No, and I was gonna say too, one thing that we talked about the differences between last year's team and this year, because we're sitting at 4-1, we're sitting in a much better position. Obviously, the kicker and everything, but I wonder too how much De'Aaron King really brought to the table, even off the field, right? Because I feel like previous Canes teams would have had that game against Clemson not go our way, right? Which should we have beaten Clemson? I think we were competitive in the first half. It went the way it went. Clemson's on another level. We all know that, but I feel like previous Canes teams would have taken that game and just hung their head and not really paid too much attention and kind of been like, the season's over. We didn't beat Clemson. What's the point? This team looked resilient. And even when it got close against Pitt, again, previous teams would have kind of checked out and been like, well, I don't know. I don't know how much credit I give Manny Diaz to that. And I do. I think he's helped kind of change the mentality around here. But I think they also needed a guy at their level, right? Like a peer to also show some of that. And I think we got to give De'Aaron King a lot of props for that, because if that can carry over to future teams, even after De'Aaron King is gone, I'm going to have to thank him, because it's like, dude, you changed us out of that horrible mindset of, I don't care anymore. I'm out of here. It's all about my stats in the draft position. And he's made us look more like a team. And so I think that's a really great thing he's brought.
Well, not only De'Aaron King, but Quincy Roche is another guy, right? Another older guy. And you heard it today on the press conference. This was something that they kept driving home that we haven't heard in a long time, and it's the leadership on the team, from Quincy Roche to De'Aaron King to the young guys. Everybody right now is leading not only by example, but on the
standard.
Yeah, it's that's what it is. It's a standard now. They won't take anything less than that. And Michael, you brought up a great point. You brought up a great point that against Clemson, you didn't see any quit, regardless of whether they were down big or they had made a mistake. You never saw any quit from the team up until the whistle blew 000 at the end. Like, it was just amazing. And so what you kept hearing from then on is, all right, now we got to focus on Pitt. And then what's different about this team? It's the leadership. And then Quincy Roche mentions it, and De'Aaron King mentions it. And then you got other guys like Lou Headley, who's another leader on the team. Some people don't think, oh, this guy is all tatted up. He's kind of crazy, but a lot of people consider him, and he is crazy, and that's fine.
I love it.
You need some crazy on a football team, and he's a leader at the same time. So you're noticing that the culture of the football program is changing, and leadership is a huge part of it. And that's what I think is allowing these kids to say, okay, listen, man, I know that we made a mistake. Let's go back out there and execute. That's it, And so you all bring up a great point about that. And I think that that's what's going to drive this football program to continue on course, to play well, and to be, at this point, obviously the second best team in the ACC. But if it continues,
it's a football game too. So at the end of the day, they can play Clemson and anything can happen. Not anything can happen, but I mean, is Miami that far?
They can beat them. Anybody. I know that it's Clemson, Alabama, and then everybody else right now, and I get that. But listen, now you got some other teams that are going to start playing this week.
Yeah, Big Ten starting this week.
Big Ten starting this week. You've got Justin Fields is he's a big boy, man. That's a man right there. Ohio.
He's not that good though at quarterback.
Yeah. That's a great Ohio State football team, and I think
that it's a great Ohio State team, but
they are going to be good. I think Justin Fields is legit.
No, it's Clemson. It's Clemson and everybody else. Clemson is the best team, and we can't deny that anymore.
Yeah, I agree.
I tried to be optimistic about Alabama, but watching them play this year is something kind of off about them. The defense doesn't look as strong. They just don't have it. Clemson legitly is clicking on all cylinders. I mean, like, you just look at them playing Georgia Tech, 17-7 in the first quarter. And it's just like Dabo Swinney like looked at Trevor Lawrence and said, man, let's get these guys out of here. 35-point second quarter. So but Miami's been doing the same thing. It's like, oh, they're playing around for a while. And
yeah.
like,
it's true. And then Brett Lashley says, all right, dear.
Come on, let's go.
Yeah, let's put this game away. And at first it was 7-0, and then Miami started rolling. I don't have a problem with Derrick King leading the team in rushing. I do want to see more design quarterback runs out of him.
Yeah.
More RPOs, more zone reads, because it'll open up the offense for him. For the running backs. For the whole running game will open up with a quarterback run game. It's the hardest thing to stop in college football. I don't know how to continue to say that. Like, if you watch that's why it's creeping into the NFL with all the zone reads. You seen Kyler Murray last night just tear Dallas up with the same like zone read concept. So, like I said, they just need to do a little bit more design runs with him, QB run game, zone reads to open up the running game. Because once you start doing that, it's a lot more easier for the backs to pick holes.
Well, and I have dreams every once in a while, and I picture this defensive line with Greg Rousseau on it.
Oh my God.
And I just and it just makes me so happy. And I don't blame him for making any decision. I think you do what's best for you.
Smart.
It's your life. It's your decision. Do what you want. I no blame him. But man, Quincy Roche, Jalen Phillips, Rousseau all on the line. Oh my goodness.
It's no added value for him to play this year. So
there wasn't. But I'm thinking as a Canes fan, right? Yeah. Just this Canes team.
No. Right. As a Canes fan, you're like,
oh man.
Move Roche to like linebacker or something.
I agree. Like, for me, the guys who opted out, who are solidified first round picks, there's no reason for you to play this year. Only thing gonna happen to you is your stock gonna go down. There's no need to play this year.
Yeah, but that thought as a fan, those three rushing, those offensive lines would have had nothing. Those quarterbacks would have been eaten up every third play.
They would have shifted Roche to the 3-tech. That had the 3-tech with Hunt out there and all those guys. Yeah, that D-line would have been deep. The D-line is still deep.
I know.
Oh, it is. It's great. But man, you get that soup. I gotta stop. I'm too excited.
I want to read something because we haven't really gotten to the comments, and I know Anthony is one of our loyal followers here. But he mentioned a couple of things. The first thing is regarding, I believe, if we should start Michael Redding and Jeremiah Payton on the outside and use the smaller guys in the slot. Yeah, I mean, that's what we were talking about, right? But moving Mark Pope inside in the slot and starting, whether it's staying with I think Wiggins has had his moments to shine and really hasn't done so. He's got that one big play against FSU and that's it. But I think you are going to see a lot more Michael Redding on the outside, Jeremiah Payton on the outside, Keyshawn Smith. And then you're going to move guys like Mark Pope inside. Restrepo's already a slot guy. Mike Harley's already a slot guy. But, Mike Harley's had his opportunities to make big plays, and he hasn't done so.
Yep.
So you are going to see Restrepo play more. You are going to see – I think you're going to see Pope play more on the inside. So definitely I can see that eventually happening. I don't know if they're going to start this weekend, but you can definitely see Redding and Payton get a lot more playing time.
I think we all feel the same about Harley. I love Harley as a player. Like, I loved him from when he came out because he came out as St. Thomas Aquinas, right?
Yeah.
I was really excited for him to come over. He's always been one guy that I'm like, you put in the work a lot more than some of those other wide receivers we have. It's great to see it. It's just that last moment, that last thing, the catching the ball. It's like, dude, you got to solidify that one.
His hands. He can do some really good things.
Yep.
You notice even on that play that he was wide open, he still made a guy miss at the end on that little spin. So, yeah, he can do some things. But it's just,
but the broken plays are going to happen with Derrick King at quarterback.
Yeah, it's going to happen. That's fine. But it's just a matter of when things don't break down, him being able to find guys open. Another thing, do you think the reason why the offense is struggling is because there wasn't any spring practice and there was a shortened summer? Again, I don't think the offense is struggling. I think the wide receivers are struggling a bit, but the offense as a whole
Yeah, they
think
scored
okay.
31 points,
Yeah.
47 against Louisville, 31 against UAB.
I think we're fine. I think we're fine.
Clemson was the only game that we didn't really put up points. They put up 52 against Florida State. So the offense is fine. It's
And let's put it this way, Jock. The truth of the matter is they haven't put a full performance together.
Correct. The running game, the passing game, nothing. So yes.
So yeah, I
And
think
you don't necessarily expect every single facet of the offense to work 100% of the time throughout the course of the season. Sure, you can dream it, but it very rarely happens. So as long as you have like the running backs working well or the tight ends playing well, then that could definitely lead to a functional offense. And I think so far Miami has had at least one of those things in order to be successful.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, I don't know, Jock, and the rest of the group here. I don't know if we'll see Brevin Jordan play this weekend. Just for the simple fact that they may be thinking, well, if we give him one more week to rest, then he's got an extra week on a bye to get fully recovered. It is. I don't want to downplay Virginia, right? Like if they stink, but at the same time, I mean, this is a game that you should just completely.
Yeah. You should be able to win without Brevin Jordan.
Wake Forest put up 40 against them. Clemson put up 41. I mean, obviously you ain't gonna underestimate the team, but yeah, this should be a win. Like at least by 2 touchdowns at most.
Yeah.
And if you want to, they could put the game away early. Just come out, punch you right in the mouth, take over the game. But Virginia has had some good games in Miami. They kind of, worked the pace a little bit. Remember that rainy, sluggy game with Perkins down here. So, but Miami's just in a different level. I think Miami's the better team, and they have been the better team except in one game this season.
Yep.
Like it's clear, So. And then I just want to see them 5-1 going into these next stretches of game. And NC State will be a tough game on the road. Virginia Tech's gonna be a tough game on the road. So just be ready and prepare. 5-1. You go on the road and win those games, then you're sitting at 7-1 and ready to progress to the next level. Just seeing how the field shakes out for everybody else.
Yep.
Here's one more thing before we get going, and we'll close out with this that we don't mention enough is. Listen, the important thing that we're noticing is the team is this is a really good football program. This is not one of those times where you think, well, they're just getting lucky. They're playing, they're finding ways to win ugly, or they're doing certain things that's getting them over the hump and they're winning a close game, or they're just surprising teams. No, this is a good football team. And if they continue at this pace, then they will be recognized nationally on the big stage for legitimate reasons, right? They're not going to be ranked number 2 and then lose to Pitt, and then there goes the season. Yeah. I think that this is a different team. I think that they're going to be steady. They're going to be a good football program, and that mixed with the fact that there's leadership, that there's culture now on this football program. Yes, Jock, give credit to Manny Diaz, but at the same time, he's done a good job of putting the right coaches in place more on the offensive side right now, because I think the defensive side's set. When you bring in guys like Rob Likens and Garen Justice and guys like that, that plays a big role in how they develop and how they become men.
That's part of being a good coach, though. Knowing
you're right.
So that's why I'm giving him credit, because at the beginning of the year, he went out and addressed what the issues were. Obviously, with Lashley's looking at it, I can have a head coaching job next. But to get him to come when I'm sure he had other offers out there to come to the team. So that's just I'm giving him credit because he's gonna get all the credit, just like Dabo Sweeney. You've done a great job. You got Chad Morris there, and you kept Brent Venables there. So it's kind of like it's like how they had with Bud Foster at Virginia Tech. If you can get these guys there. I mean, that's kudos to you, because college football coaches switch every day. So it's good that he identified the issues and went out ahead and got it. And I think they likely will probably promote Likens to offensive coordinator if Lashley leaves after a year.
Listen, if you start getting coaches to like offensive coordinator positions, and then they move from your team to a head coaching position, then you know you're doing something right also, because obviously you're being successful. But what I was getting to is it's going to help a lot with recruiting. It's going to help a lot getting the big 5-star guys out of California and Oregon and Texas and Georgia, as opposed to just the 5-star guys here. Because let's be honest, folks, right? Yeah, it's great to have the local kids come in and play for your program here at UM, but go back 15, 20, 30 years and tell me that some of the greats for the University of Miami are not from outside of the state of Florida. You got your Ed Reeds and you got your Kenny Dorseys, and yes, then you have your greats like Sean Taylor and guys like that. But you also have these guys that are from the Texas area and the Gino Torettos of the world, and even Devin. Well, Devin Hester's from Florida, but he's from I think Central North Florida. But what I'm trying to get at
recruiting.
You got to recruit all over the country.
Yes.
And this is gonna
guys all over the country.
This is kind of going to sound weird, too, in the grand scheme of things, but in the Midwest, when you're looking for linemen, that's a huge part of it, too. You can get a lot of good 4- and 5-star linemen, say, from Nebraska or the Dakotas and stuff. It's not a sexy position, but as you guys have all seen and know about, linemen are huge. So if they can parlay that into, kind of building a fence around Nebraska or Iowa, that would be really good, too.
Well, Danny, because you're up in the Northeast, man. Boston College always gets absolute monsters on the line. So where are they getting them from, right?
Notre Dame got the best.
Notre Dame, the Midwest, man. Notre Dame.
Yep. They got the best. They got the best recruiting line I ever seen in my.
It's unbelievable, man.
At one point, they had Mike McGlinchey, Ronald Stanley, Quentin Nelson, and Nick Martin, all on.
I think Zach Martin, no? Zach Martin also, or he was before?
He was before them.
Yeah.
But that Notre Dame team that came down here that played Miami had Ronald Stanley, Quentin Nelson, Nick Martin. Nick Martin wasn't on the team. That was 2012, right? Nick Martin was on the team. That's when they was really good with that offensive line.
Was that 12? I think it was a little after that.
Yeah.
13 or 14.
But that was the year that they were supposed to run us over because they just had that mauling line and we weren't going to be able to stop them, and we just outran them.
They had Quentin Nelson. I went to that game.
The year that we won 41-7?
Yes.
Oh, that was 2017, man, or 2016.
Yeah.
Nick Martin was.
Randy ran back the pick six. I was in the press box that day.
Yeah, I was at that game too, and I was just like, I couldn't believe but they put the kid in. But I knew Quentin Nelson from watching him live, but also watching him film. I was like, this guy's
Well, we got to get those guys. We got to get guys like that at Miami. That's when you know that we're going to dominate college football. Is when you get the big uglies like that, like your Eric Winstons and Joaquin Gonzalez and Brett Romberg and Martin Bibla and those guys. You got to get guys like that again. Well, we'll see. Guys, we'll be back on Thursday to preview Thursday or Friday, I guess, to preview the UVA game a little bit more in depth, and maybe we'll get a little more recruiting news as well. So we'll talk recruiting with hopefully a special guest that 5 Reasons Canes is working on. And Mike, you're always welcome to come on the show and
appreciate it.
Please with us, man. It was fun.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys having me on. It's our first time on here. It's nice. It's good being here, man.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. So check us out. You know where you can find us. Danny Gillette.
King Jock 24.
There it is. King Jock 24. Danny Gillette, what are you?
At D Gillette 95.
Mike, what's your handle?
It was on here. It's at Wallamac 16.
Wallamac, and I'm at Jazz Santana, but you can find me always tweeting nonsense on at 5 Reasons Canes. Check us out there, and we'll be back on Thursday with another rendition. It sounds so cheesy. Another rendition. The 6 Reasons